Update. Hired a private investigator to watch my fiancé on her girl's trip, and now I'm torn. Original post. Hey everyone, long-time lurker, first-time poster here. I never thought I'd be the one to spill my story in a confession sub, but here we are. To cut a long story short, my fiancé and I have been together for 5 years, and every year, she goes on this girls-only trip with her close friends. Something in my gut had been bothering me about these trips. Maybe it was the slight changes in her behavior afterward, or the cryptic conversations that overhear. But instead of directly confronting her, I did something I'm deeply ashamed of. I hired a private investigator to watch her during her recent trip. I got back the results a few days ago, and as much as I regret violating her privacy, my suspicions were not unfounded. The PI presented evidence of her being unfaithful, and it shattered my heart. Now I'm caught in this storm of emotions. On one hand, I deeply regret snooping and not trusting her enough to talk about it. On the other, the betrayal from her side feels even more significant. I love her, but I can't see a future together anymore. How do I even approach this situation? Do I confess my snooping, or just end things without revealing the reason? Any advice is welcome. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Just tell her you know, you don't have to give details. She's not going to tell all her details. Be glad you didn't marry her. Yeah, this is the move. You validated it for yourself. Spare your mentals and the drama. You know, and now it can be over. Maybe as a bonus, send her the proof your friend captured in a month or so, just so she feels horrible for being unfaithful and give you the last word. Sorry, man. Ruin her friendships by sharing any pics and say it was one of her friends that ratted her out. But don't tell her which one. Move on, dude. When she asks why, say I know you're cheating on me, and leave it at that. Don't tell her anything else. Her punishment is never knowing how you know. When you completely stump her and she has no idea how you know, she'll start yelling at you, accusing you of all kinds of stuff, telling you suck in bed and she needed more, that you have a small junk whatever, anything to get you to scream back. Don't lose your cool. Keep it together and just leave. Then ghost her. You're done here. This is perfect. Don't give her any of your energy. I know you've been unfaithful, and I'm leaving for my own sake. All this, you have a task to perform that is critical to your happiness in the future. You will absolutely have emotions. Just know going in that you must remain rational and safe while completing this very important task. Tell her you know, tell her it's over, and tell her you need to be left alone for a while and maybe forever. You may want to avoid having to coordinate for personal items later, so gather your things that you can't live without. Good luck. Stay focused. You do got this. I would definitely just go with an I know it happened and maybe one undeniable detail and give her enough rope to hang herself. I'd also let the partners of the other women on this trip know what they've been getting up to. At the very least, there is open collusion and infidelity going on. If you don't know all the partners, then host one last dinner party with specifically that group and their partners, then pull the man aside either individually or as a group. Then enjoy the show. Now for the update. Hey everyone. I've received many messages asking about this situation, and I thought it was only right to keep those who cared in the loop. When my fiancée returned from her trip, I tried my best to handle things maturely. I gave her a chance to be honest, asking if there was anything she wanted to share about her trip. Instead of coming clean, she gaslit me, making me question my own perceptions and reality. Having the evidence I had, I confronted her about the affair. She was taken aback and immediately asked how I knew. I told her the truth, that I hired a PI. I didn't want to falsely accuse any of her friends, as some of you suggested, even though honestly part of me was tempted. She was furious. I've never seen her that angry in all our years together. Additionally, feeling it was the right thing to do, I shared the evidence with one of her friend's boyfriends, so he could be informed and consider getting tested if necessary. It was clear to both of us that our relationship had reached a breaking point. We broke up right then. Despite it being my house that I've financially covered for us, I left and checked into a hotel, giving her space and asking her to pack her things and move out. We didn't communicate for a few days. When she finally reached out, she expressed a desire to talk and perhaps find a way to mend things. But the trust was broken and I couldn't see a future for us, so I told her no. And now the part I didn't see coming, she's considering pursuing palimony payments. For those unaware, palimony is financially support provided to a partner in a non-marital relationship after a separation. I've been informed that due to the relationship laws in our state, this could very well be a real concern. I've initiated a process of hiring a lawyer. During our relationship, I on the majority of the financial responsibilities, including the mortgage. We had an unspoken understanding. My money's our money, her money's her money, due to our significant income differential. I never thought that my generosity would come back to haunt me. There it is, the updates many of you ask for. I wish I had a happier conclusion to this chapter, but life has its twists and turns. It seems she might have the upper hand in this final act, but I'm hoping for a fair resolution. Thank you for the support and advice. It has really meant a lot. I hope that the palimony does not materialize. It may not feel like it, but it's better to know now rather than a few years, and kids potentially down the road. Good luck to you. I can't imagine there being much of a case since she cheated. That's typically checkmate in these things. Eddie has the proof. I hope he wins, then countersues her for his legal fees. To hell with this useless little scrubber. Actually, now that you mention countersuing for legal fees, I hope he might just tell her that directly. It might call her off her absurd witch hunt for money. If she has nothing to lose and everything to gain, why not go for it? Sometimes certain lawyers will even agree to work on the case for free if they feel they can win it and only get paid when they win. If OP tells her he'll be countersuing for legal fees and that a significantly higher salary has afforded him a very expensive lawyer, suddenly there's a financial punishment if she loses. It might get her to drop the whole thing before it even starts. Good luck, OP, and as far as her guilt goes, don't let yourself feel it. You don't deserve to feel guilty at all. I may catch some crap for this, but I've always said the ends justify the means when it comes to cheating and relationships. I too have found myself doing unethical things in order to confirm infidelity. I would have felt a little bad if she had come up clean, but sure enough, she came up dirtier than that pair of undies in high school gym class that sat all year in that one locker no one used. I was completely justified in my actions. If I hadn't taken matters into my own hands, right now I'd be married to a no-good rotten cheater. I don't care what anyone says. Anything is better than being innocently tricked into that situation. I agree. The normal rules go out the window if your gut feel turns out to be right. Then you should feel no shame, and you should thank your lucky stars that you found out in time. Not a lawyer, but I thought alimony was pretty much void if one partner isn't faithful, so it seems like this should be even more clear-cut for palimony. Hope that's the way it works out for you. Not true. I live in a no-fault state. I know someone paying huge alimony to his cheating ex-wife who left him for another guy. But she's not his wife, and she is working, not a stay-at-home wife. His house, so he is paying the mortgage for his property. It doesn't imply him to agree to support her, but he should absolutely follow his lawyer's advice and stop talking to her. Frankly, I would ask the lawyer if exposing her cheating will not hurt his case. I would blast her and her friends online. She might be encouraged to get palimony by people around her who think she is the victim. When her cheating becomes public knowledge, they will stop encouraging her, and she will look like POS in their eyes going for the money of the guy she wronged. It might damage her reputation a lot, and she might back off on the money. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-wife not everyone is a self-centered witch like her? I, 45 male, was married to my ex-wife, Kelly, 45, for 15 years. We have 2 children together, ages 16 and 10. We divorced 7 years ago. She left because I lost my leg. 15 years went down the drain because I was in a car crash. I was the main provider and we had a toddler at home that she couldn't care for us both. I'm not here to bash her on that. That's just the backstory. I'm now married to my wife of 2 years, Shay, 32. We are expecting our first child together, and she helps me raise my 2 since I get them every other week. She's incredible, everything that my ex wasn't. Kelly always makes comments about how the age difference is a red flag and how I should watch out. I've always brushed them aside, as I only have to see her during drop-offs and pickups. But ever since she's found out the news, she keeps reminding me that I am a 45-year-old amputee who will have to care for an infant, and if I'm sure I can do it and if Shay's gonna put up with it. Tonight, Kelly said to me that I better have a backup plan just in case. I snapped and said, "Not everyone is a self-centered witch like you." Kelly got mad and brought my kids home. It was supposed to be my week. I called and texted multiple times because I wanted to see my kids. She then sent me a long text that night about how she couldn't believe I could say something like that to the mother of my children, and that she was just warning me about what the outcome could be with such a younger woman, and how badly I hurt her feelings. I've yet to answer, but my wife knows I want to see my kids, so she says I should just suck it up and apologize. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your ex is not only a self-centered witch, but an incredibly bitter one too. She has no business commenting on your marriage. She's way out of line. Is she refusing to let her kids see you unless you apologize to her? I'd drag her to court. I'd like to, but we have no legal agreement, and I have no plan to take her to court. She makes more money than the two of us and has a bigger home. I don't want to risk losing anything, especially seeing my children. You won't risk not seeing your children if you go to court for custody arrangements. A court-arranged custody arrangement will prevent your ex from using your children as weapon to beat you with. Go to court and get yourself a formal custody arrangement. My son's father and I split when our son was less than a year old, and even with it being amicable, we got a custody agreement in case one of us ever went nuts. Best decision we ever made, and it prevented a lot of arguments. This, I know legal terms like prenups and custody agreements set off alarm bells for a lot of reasons, but it really is best to get that stuff sorted out in writing while everyone still likes each other. My brother did the informal custody and alimony thing, where everything was all good with his ex, so he didn't feel a need to push for anything legal. I kept telling him this is the best time because everyone is on the same page, but he kept ignoring my suggestion. A year or so later, the ex breaks up with her partner and starts asking my brother for more money, and also starts to keep the kids longer out of spite. Things eventually get settled legally, but it was months and months of dealing with lawyers and such a waste of money on both sides. Last story. Am I the a-hole for hurting my father's mistress/wife? When I was 20, the family found out that my dad was cheating on my mom with our maid. They obviously got divorced, but since he stated that he was in love with a maid, the entire family did everything they could to secure our family wealth. Dad was disowned by his parents, and bottom line, he was left with nothing. After all of this, I was really traumatized and bitter. This was my dad, my male role model, my hero, and he was also the one to destroy our family. I admit that he tried really hard to keep contact with me and to explain to me that he still loved me very much and it had nothing to do with me, but I did not want anything to do with him. I cut him off entirely and refused any kind of communication with him for the past 9 years. Back then, I told him that he was dead to me, and for his sake, he should consider the same. Pretend he did not have a biological daughter anymore, and go play house with his mistress and her bastard daughter. I know he still kept tabs on my life, and each year he would send me messages on Christmas and my birthday, but I never responded. 6 months ago, I had a bad accident. I was driving home when a drunk driver hit me full force. The doctors let my family know that the injuries that I sustained were really bad, and that they were doing everything in their power to save my life, but they should be prepared for everything. Luckily, I've fully recovered, but my dad has been insane ever since and trying to mend our relationship. He came to the hospital almost every day while I stayed there, but me refusing to see him did not make him understand that I want nothing to do with him. I recently changed my mind and decided to confront him and his mistress, now wife, because some relatives told me what the woman has been saying about me and my family. She has been talking trash, saying that it is not my fault for acting like this because I learned this from my family, mom and grandparents, and they are to blame for me being cruel. After hearing this, I could not believe the audacity of this woman, so I agreed to meet my dad and her to set things straight. I think they got the wrong impression because when I went to meet them, they came along with her daughter and her husband. They were so disgusting. The woman had a stupid smile on her face and told me how happy she is that after all this time, I was giving them a chance, and how happy she is that her daughter will finally have the sister she always wanted. I made it clear that I am not giving them any chance. I told her that I know everything she has been saying, and if I learned cruelty from my family, then her daughter must have learned from her that being a cheap woman and sleeping with your boss makes you progress in life. I also told her that thank God she does not have a uterus anymore, so she cannot taint my bloodline with her creatures. I told the girl's husband to watch out, because what can be expected from such disgusting women? Before leaving, I told my dad that he has 2 options. Either consider me dead, or divorce his joke of a wife, cut ties with that joke of a family, and come back into our lives. He told me that he cannot let me go, that I am his daughter, and that last years have been torture not being close to me. Again, I told him that if he expects forgiveness, he knows what to do, and if he really loved me that much, he will choose me this time. My grandparents agreed with my actions, and are hopeful that maybe their son will come back to his senses and come back to his family. But one of my aunts, Dad's sister-in-law, said that it was a low blow for me to mention her incapacity of having more children, that I may have hurt her with my words. Honestly, I do not care. She hurt me more when she destroyed my family, so her struggles, her hurt did not move me at all. Opie said when they go low, I'm taking the expressway in hell. What was the wife's reaction to this? Oh, not the a-hole. I mean, now looking back, I did not give her room to say much. I had things kept for 9 years that I needed to clarify, but her initial reaction was shock, like she did not expect it. What on earth do you expect to hear from someone who refused to meet you for 9 years and who you know for sure hates you is beyond me. After she recovered a bit, she started saying, I know we were wrong, but, and I just stopped her and told her no buts. There is no but here. She is what she is, and that's it. Honestly, cheaters always think people are just supposed to let things go. Well, let's see if your dad chooses a relationship with you or her. I'm so sick of Reddit absolving cheaters with the life is nuanced, is not black and white. Sorry, some things are black and white. No judgment, but you need some severe therapy. She said in a comment that she's in therapy. Update. Am I the a-hole for not marrying my pregnant ex-girlfriend? Original post. Nicole, 40 female, and I, male 40, were together for less than 2 years. She broke up with me 2.5 weeks ago. At first, she said she hated me and didn't want to hear from me ever. I respected that and did not contact her. One night, she drunk texted me about wasting her time and suggested getting back together. I ignored it since she was obviously drunk. But recently, she informed me that she's pregnant. I asked if the baby is mine, which made her furious. She accused me of accusing her of cheating. Even though she hasn't had a doctor's appointment yet, which I told her I wanted to attend with her, she has informed my entire family that I got her pregnant and abandoned her the baby. Now my Christian mom's siblings, friends, and cousins are pressuring me to propose to her. Today, she called me 3 times at work, suggesting meeting over the weekend with my family for a small wedding, and I lost it. I don't even know if the baby is mine, and I won't marry someone just because of a baby. She called me an a-hole and hung up and called my family again, and my entire family is mad at me. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Did you see the positive pregnancy test? This is all kinds of crazy, and kinda seems like a trap with the pressure of marriage. Nope, I haven't seen anything. That's why I suggested to go to the doctor with her. Smart move. I'd want to see a positive test that I was present for, be there at the ultrasound, and get a fetal paternity test done if the doctor okays it, given it's not high-risk pregnancy if it's real. I'm sorry you're in this situation, and it's wild to me your mom believes her over you. Or that's the impression I got. I agree, except you can now do a full DNA screening and match for paternity using maternal blood instead of like the old days, where the needle had to go through the uterus. Only been out for a few years. So this chick is crazy. Don't get married because of a baby. That's a trash reason. Commit yourself to the baby because if it's yours. She did make it herself, not her. There is a way to do that. She screams she freaking hates me, but I should work on myself and marry her. WTF. She sounds like a manipulative person. Be careful. Maybe the kid is not even yours. And you both are in your 40s. It's not like she's a helpless young lady that doesn't know anything about life. Dude, so not the a-hole. My husband dealt with a very similar situation like this one with one of his exes years ago. When that ex texted him claiming she was pregnant with his baby, he texted her back saying he needed concrete proof that pregnancy was real and demanded to show him in person the pregnancy test as well as any medical documents that show proof of the pregnancy. She got mad and messaged my mother-in-law over Facebook with that same sob story your ex told your mom. Luckily, mother-in-law also didn't buy it and backed my husband, saying the same thing. Apparently, this went on for a week or so, where that's all my husband and mother-in-law would tell her when she kept trying to reach out. After a week or so, the ex texted back claiming she lost the baby. Lol. If you do something like this, get a mutual friend or one of your family members who believes you to back you up in case your ex tries this nonsense. Do not tell her anything else besides that you will go with her to her doctor's appointment to confirm pregnancy, and that you are speaking with a lawyer to take steps to determine paternity if she's legit pregnant. Get these things in screenshots or audio recordings just in case.
Also, please talk to a lawyer to find out how to do a court-ordered paternity test. You'll find out the truth soon enough. Good luck. Now for the update. So Nicole, my ex, ended up emailing my FWB Aaron's boss. She found a company on her LinkedIn and then mass emailed everyone. She wrote that we are engaged and have a baby on the way and told Aaron's employee to tell Aaron to leave our family alone. Aaron called me crying. Luckily, her company didn't fire her, but she was pretty embarrassed. She showed me the email. I decided to meet with Nicole in person and stay calm to see if I can go to the doctor with her. When we met, I asked how far along she is. She said she doesn't know exactly. I suggested that we go to a doctor who can probably determine the pregnancy through ultrasound or some tests. She said the doctor won't see her until at least 3 months. I asked how that's possible, and she got mad, saying it doesn't make a difference. She accused me of being a selfish narcissist and said she hates all of us, mentioning Josh. I asked who Josh was, and she started crying, admitting that she has been having an affair with her coworker since Christmas, on and off. She broke up with me, hoping she could be with Josh, but he only wanted random hookups. That's why she made up the whole pregnancy story, saying, I realized that I still love you. I want to be with you forever. I asked her to confirm that she's not pregnant, and she screamed, No, I'm not. But didn't you hear that I still love you? I left. On the bright side, Erin and I have been talking a lot, and the more we talk, I realize what a wonderful woman she is. I asked if we can spend more time together, not just hook up, and she said she liked that. Dude, your ex is crazy bonkers. If DNA paternity tests can be done at 9 weeks, how the heck can she claim the doctor won't see her until 3 months? An OB will see a pregnant woman as soon as there is an available appointment. Don't believe anything she tells you. If she comes up with a sonogram pic, don't believe it unless you see the baby on a screen with your own eyes. She wouldn't be the first to find a sonogram pic online and Photoshop her name and info on it. Since she's already proven how psycho she can be, watch her back. If you even think she might have access to your home or any financial or account passwords, change them. Consider getting some security cams. Best wishes. Hopefully it's legal to record any and all conversations you might have with your ex if she reaches out again. Maybe that would help Aaron's case against her. Anyone who attempts to baby trap someone is despicable. Too bad you didn't record your ex's confession. I feel so bad for Aaron. If I were you, I would help Aaron to hire a lawyer to sue your ex for defamation. If she has a case, I would even help her financially to sue my ex. Not a lawyer, but I would think, depending on what was in the email, could give her a case. Your ex deliberately mass emailed Aaron's work to tarnish her reputation after going out of her way to find her online. Had she succeeded, Aaron could have been fired or disciplined. I would consult an attorney. A lawsuit can be discussed. Not sure what jurisdiction you live in, but laws vary, and you may or may not have a case. But I'd probably also inquire about a restraining order against your ex. The made-up story and emailing the entire company a major lie, which could have had some really bad consequences, that seems pretty unhinged behavior. And honestly, I'm worried about your ex escalating the situation. Good luck to you. Contact the police via their non-emergency number and ask what they recommend about protecting yourself and Aaron about the crazy ex. This might be something where you need to work with a lawyer to file for an order of protection or a restraining order to keep her out of your life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for billing my fiancé after a prenup request? My fiancé and I are high school sweethearts. We lived together about 3.5 years in college, but I left him because the last 2 years, he quit his job, complained nonstop about failing classes, but did nothing but sleep and play video games. Didn't pay his share of bills, but expected me to do all cleaning and cooking while working 2 jobs and school full-time. Then was mean to me. Time passes. He attends therapy, graduates, stabilizes, and honestly became such a good man. We reconnected and date again. Life happens and we end up in different cities due to work. We are now engaged. He is under contract, so it's expected I move with him. He also just bought a house. Cause his mortgage for a 3-bed is cheaper than he was paying for a 1-bedroom apartment. He put $15,000 down. We talked about me paying $900 a month towards bills, which I had no issue with at first. Then he mentions getting a prenup. This rubs me the wrong way. I understand wanting to protect assets, but like we have been together since 15. And well, if we put tally marks to it, he owes me money. I would have to relocate and find a new job in his town, which the only reason I'd go there is for him. I agreed, but told him we need to settle his debts with me and have an established leasing agreement. This offended and made him super upset. We have a notarized contract because I took out $10,000 in loans after I lost his scholarships one semester and was denied approval. Despite it, I have been paying and never asked for money back before now. His car cost $6,000, and I loaned him $2.5K of it. Never got a dime back. Although he said he would pay it back, I never really pressed it though. I paid almost all bills for 2 years after he had quit his job. I didn't ask for any back, but I sure as heck pointed it out. And I decided that it would only be fair for me to pay for a market room rate. We live in the South, and that's $500 to $650 utilities included. I also started requesting half of vet bills as kitty support since one of our cats has diabetes. He has taken the changes as a champ, but I can tell he's super stressed out and sad. He literally makes double what I make at the moment, but I know he never expected, or maybe even remember, all the costs I've bid in for this relationship. I feel guilty because I never committed with expectations of it being returned, so when he suggested it, I don't know why I felt salty. Then I go a list of my costs which hurt him, and I don't know. Am I an a-hole? Did I go too far? Now for the top comments. I think your request was totally reasonable. If he wants a prenup, you need to even his score first. I don't understand how he expects you to not be offended by the prenup while simultaneously being hurt by a request for what you are owed. He owes her $10,000 in a notarized contract, not to mention the rest. Seems like she put down $10,000 of the deposit on his house. I said, this looks like so much baggage for the start of your marriage. Maybe you should be rethinking your relationship. You broke up with him once. Not the a-hole. Do not marry this clown. You were going to be left holding the bag, prenup or not. Yeah, I don't like how he turned himself around so admirably, but all that growth and self-awareness just happened to not include awareness of the $15,000 to $20,000 he owed this woman, the woman he's supposedly so in love with. OP, you were totally justified in telling him he needs to pay up, and also in refusing to contribute more than a renter would want in his house. However, I'd suggest you get him to agree to buying a new house together if you marry, as it makes zero sense to me that 20 years from today he will own a home, but you'll still have the zero equity of a woman who has been renting to those 20 years. Overall, I feel uneasy for you that after everything you did for him in the past, and with him expecting you to completely uproot your life, he'd even think prenup. These $15,000 to $20,000 are money and time she could have spent on personal development because it was in college. Her losses are much higher. Funny that he also put down $15,000 for his house. Not the a-hole. Struggling to see why you would marry this loser who exploits you and doesn't pay you back. Good people pay their debts without being hassled. I wish I could upvote this more than once. He is a mooch, and he has shown himself to be one time and again. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my son to have his father's last name? I'm female 22 and currently pregnant and no longer with a father. We aren't together for many reasons, like him drinking and cheating on me, etc. I tried to stay strong when I first found out I was pregnant, which only led to a bunch of threatened miscarriages from the stress/anxiety it put me in. So for myself and my health's sake, I left. To clarify, my menstrual cycle is not very consistent. Sometimes twice a month for 9 days at a time, and some only once a month for only 4 to 5 days at a time. Needless to say, I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 6, almost 7 weeks along. I have had about 3 due date changes now, from it being January 24th to February 20th, and now close to Valentine's Day. Through it all, I've been single, going to every appointment alone, which has been a lot of extras because I have a heart condition and currently cannot take my medication for it due to it possibly causing harm to the baby. I was told a gender, a little too early, and it ended up being the wrong gender, but I've kept the father in the loop with it all. Originally, I was told it was a girl, and because of that, my ex wanted nothing to do with the pregnancy and anything after. Which is fine, I'll do it alone if I have to. But recently, I found out at the genetics appointment that it is actually a boy, and now the dad wants to be around, and is trying to force me to give him his last name. I keep telling him I just don't know yet, because he isn't even going to be there when I go into labor. So, would I be the a-hole if I'm not even considering using his name? He keeps trying to fight me on this with lawsuits, and keeps telling me he'll just take me to court if I do any of this without his permission. But why would I give my baby his last name if he didn't want anything to do with it before finding out the actual gender? I just don't know what to do anymore, because everything I say is lawsuit, lawsuit, lawsuit if I don't do something his way. And he was also trying to get full custody, which could never happen because 1, he can't drive right now due to his DUIs, and 2, he lives 2 hours away from me now, so the baby wouldn't even be close to the county he is born in. I could really use some advice. Do I just cave in and give him his last name, or do I just give him mine? I'm so tired of hearing all of it, and half the time I wish I didn't even tell the father it was a boy, so he would just leave me alone. I would have felt much happier if I was doing it solo, to be honest. Not the a-hole. Give him your name. The odds of him actually having the money and energy to keep up with the lawsuit is very low. Call his bluff. The doctor's office cannot tell him anything due to HIPAA. Not the a-hole. To be sure, tell doctor's office you aren't sure on father. Do not, under any circumstances, put his name anywhere in any paperwork at doctor office or hospital. If for some reason you have his name in papers at doctor's office, tell them you need to cross through his name and white it out. I agree with above comment. Due to HIPAA, they should not tell anyone anything. But there are occasions where it does happen, so make sure he's nowhere in your chart. And they can note that if this person calls and says he is husband or whatever, they are not to believe him, nor even tell him if you have had baby yet, or if you are even a patient there. Not the a-hole. Give him your last name. When you give birth, don't tell him where or when. The nurses will give you the birth certificate to complete and you have to sign it, not him. What you put will be what is recorded. He can't just file a lawsuit and have it changed at a snap of his fingers. If he wants to waste his time and money trying, then let him. They also wouldn't give him full custody unless you were proven to be an unfit parent. Make sure when you do go to the hospital to tell the nurses and staff, he is not allowed in the room when you have the baby. Even if he's the father, they won't let him in if you say you don't want him there. He won't even be in the country during my labor. His family is from England, so that's when he thought the best time to visit them would be. As the child of a similar situation, give that baby your last name. Seriously, I'm thankful every day that I don't have my deadbeat woman beating rape piece of nuclear waste's last name. Knowing my dad's ego, he's going to die bitter about it. But I don't care, because I've not spoken to him since I was 18, 8 years ago, and he was barely around before that. My relationship with my mom is far from perfect, but I love having her last name, because she's the one who raised me. My sister passed it down and I intend to whenever I have kids.